All right, so welcome back to another version of the Discovering Foundational Truths. My name is John Lemus.
My name is Hussein Amroa.
We kind of get together and just talk a little bit about, what the truths are in the world and how they kind of pertain to the world as far as, how it takes care of our behaviors and how we get ahead in life. So usually get started by trying to talk a little bit and get your mind on something. My first question is going to be, you are the honored guest. Don't weep like a beggar for pieces of the world.
You're the honored guest.
Yeah, you're the honored guest
in the world.
Don't weep like a beggar for pieces of the world.
Right.
What are they trying to say? If you're the honored guest,
If you're the honored guest, I mean, from my point of view, it's just telling me, in my point of view, you're the person that's supposed to be here, and you're supposed to be out there and looking for yourself, not just having the handout every time.
Okay, yeah. So, the whole idea is just understanding your own identity.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people do just kind of sit around like a beggar and weep for different things in the world, but understand that you're here to actually better the world.
Right.
So, all right, second one, when you start responding instead of reacting to life will start responding to you.
When you start responding, yeah.
Yeah, remember the difference between responding and reacting?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, responding is when you take your time and think about it, So most likely when you put your time to thinking about it, you're not going to get just a quick response, every time.
You won't get reacted to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every time you do something, every time somebody does something, you react to something. So you want to think about it and make the plans from there.
Okay. It says life will start responding to you. So the more plans you make, actually the more control you'll have.
For sure. Life will show you.
Yeah, it'll show you actually how you're supposed to be moving.
Right.
So you are your greatest asset. So your discipline, your network, your education, your intelligence, your ideas, and your attitude. You are your greatest asset.
For sure.
So what are they trying to tell you?
I mean, as I see it, is you definitely, and everybody's definitely greatest asset, because without you, there really wouldn't be nobody to do what you need to do. So in that case, you have to understand that you need to take care of yourself, because ain't nobody going to take care of you.
Okay, and so when you're trying to get ahead in life, and you are your greatest asset, what you want to do is work on yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
When you work on yourself, whether it's your discipline, your network, your education, your intelligence, your ideas, your attitude, you'll see the return on investment that you have, for yourself.
Most definitely.
So just understand that you are your greatest asset. Okay. So when the ego dies, the soul awakes.
For sure, because there's nothing else fighting it.
Okay. So you're saying that the ego actually, it goes against the soul.
For sure.
Okay. What happens when the ego dies? Can you actually kill your ego?
No, your ego will always be there.
Yeah, because your flesh is always there.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So the idea is to try to get to the point where you are kind of giving up, what you desire, what you want, and then just kind of following along with your source once. That will actually awaken your soul. So fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. Fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. So what's the difference between a reaction and a decision? What do you think?
We just talked about it a little bit earlier. A reaction is, you're reacting to the situation, don't know what the outcome is.
And what's a decision?
And a decision, when you usually think about it and take your time, and you'll definitely make a plan after that.
So which one's better, fear or courage?
Courage, for sure.
Courage, because you've already thought about different situations, and if you have courage to just face anything that comes to you, you no longer have to be, in that reacting stage where you're fearing things.
Right.
So it kind of gets rid of that. Okay, recognize that your birth was a response to the world's requirements, not solely your own wishes. So recognize that your birth was a response to the world's requirements. What the heck could that mean? Your birth is a response to something that needs to be done in the world.
Yeah, because you're meant to be here for something.
Okay.
So you have to figure that out in yourself.
Figure out what your purpose is, what your destiny is. A lot of people go around and they don't think they're here for any reason at all. So they never really think about that. You know, they think they're here to work at McDonald's. Or
Nah, I
do
don't
this
work
and
like that.
Yeah.
You know, if you take time,
Mhm.
you know, to open up your experiences, you know, not say no to everything,
Mhm.
you know, eventually figure it out.
Okay, so the more anger towards the past you carry in your heart, the less room you have for peace in the present.
For sure, because you'll never forget the past and you'll never be in the present moment.
Okay, you'll never be in the present moment. And that anger actually, you know, makes you see through a different lens. And like I said, it makes you react a lot of times as opposed to respond.
Right.
And one thing you got to remember, anger is only one letter short of danger. If you think about danger, it's D-A-N-G-E-R, and anger is A-N-G-E-R.
It's very
So
similar.
if you always walk around angry, you're one step away from danger.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, so that's the idea. Doesn't take much to go from anger to danger.
Right.
So, okay, you have to learn how to care about people without taking all their problems. You have to learn how to care about people without taking on all their problems.
Yeah, I respect that, and I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you got a little story or no?
I mean, I can't think of a story. I mean, I could just say from my mother. She's the closest person in my life. I mean, I like, you know, giving her experiences to learn certain things herself. Yeah, I know I can do it, but I give her, you know, certain experiences so she can do it herself, so she don't have to call me every time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And the biggest thing is, if you take on all her problems,
Right.
first of all, you're not helping her.
Right.
And you're not helping yourself.
Definitely.
You can actually make yourself kind of render yourself useless by thinking that you're taking on her problems. Because like I said, the more you, remember we said you can't really change anybody. You can provide resources or you can change your environment. But, you know, if they look at it as a problem and not an opportunity, then the whole idea is they have to go through it.
Okay.
You know, when they go through it,
You got one for that?
They'll be switching. As far as, trying to think here, even all the kids I deal with at Arsenal, every time that they come to me and say, well, this person's doing this, and I said, well, if you think of it as that person actually is telling you about themselves,
Right.
you know, because they might call them a name or they might, you know, hit them in the head or, you know, I tell the kids, don't really take on, you know, the anger that's coming from that, you know, because you're angry because they called your mom out of the name or whatever, you know.
Right.
I'm like, understand that child's going through something to make them do that.
Right.
And, you know, that's the idea, you know, not taking on the problem of that child, but understanding the situation. It's called emotional intelligence.
Definitely. Get it.
All right, this is a wild one. Humans invented the atomic bomb, but no mouse in the world would construct a mouse trap. So why did we invent the atomic bomb? And as smart as a mouse is, he would never construct a mouse trap that would actually kill a mouse.
Because, I mean, I look at it like, you know, endangering somebody else, you know, for your benefit. That's why I look at it in point of view.
So what do you think? Why do you think we invented the atomic bomb?
I don't really got the history of that too much in my mind.
That was actually during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually watched a movie. I mean, I think, I don't know if you saw that or not, but yeah, he actually invented the atomic bomb basically almost playing God. You know what I mean? Playing, you know, like, I can do this and blow everything up, and it's all about power. It's all about, you know, trying to take, you know, what's really not even yours to take. But when you, we've talked about this before, when you look at nature actually shows you what we're supposed to be doing. You know, it's kind of like perfect without us, you know. But that's just telling you that no mouse is ever going to build a mouse trap. There's no reason for us to build something that would just take us all out, just like atomic, you know, bombs or anything like that. You can use it as energy, but not as a destruction, you know, tool. All right. The new is already here. The old is just making a lot of noise dying. So the new is already here.
For sure.
The old is just making a lot of noise dying.
Okay.
You get anything from that or no?
I mean, yeah. I mean, from the new in general, it's always a new generation coming up and inventing new things. Mm-hmm. So when I look at it from the old is talking about the past and, you know, telling people, you know, what they used to do and what used to be cool. So,
So is creation loud or is it quiet?
Creation?
Yeah, like when you create something, you do it usually loud or you do it quiet. Between creation and like destruction. Destruction is usually loud.
Yeah, destruction is always loud. Yeah,
Creation
for
is
sure.
usually quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because how's everything made? First, it's made in what? It's made in, starts with a T. It's made in a thought.
Okay, I can understand
Yeah,
your
for
point.
creation, everything's made twice. Once in your mind, and then once physically you create it. So the whole idea is that when God made this earth or this universe that we're in or whatever, he put everything here we ever need it. You know,
Right.
It isn't like there's new things popping up on the weekends. You know,
Right.
you know, all we're doing is taking the same resources and making different things
Yeah,
out of it. You know, what's our
definitely.
ideas, our thoughts. So, okay, the enemy cannot create, but he will corrupt. Talking about like the devil now, he does
Okay.
not really create anything new,
Right.
but he will corrupt what is here.
For sure.
Okay,
I mean, it's the same thing with us. You know, like from a God's point of view, you know, everything has already been created, and everything that we're using has been the same things that He created the first time. So He's just using the same thing on us.
Okay. So sin actually strips us of our humanity. We become more like animals. The devil will attack us in a spiritual realm, like through our thoughts. Okay. How do we create? This is something I'll just tell you real quick. You think of it as a thought. And then usually you put something together as far as an emotion, you know, or a desire. And then you physically will actually do that, whatever you're trying to do to create it. Now, the reason why the devil really cannot create, do you have any ideas why the devil can't create? That would be wild, because he'd be making all kinds of animals and things.
I mean, because God's word has already been said. You know, the king has already spoken, so you can't go above the king.
Okay. So if you think about the creation, the thought, the desire, intention, and your body has to be kind of your mind, your body, your spirit has to be in alignment to create something.
Right.
Does the devil have a body?
I mean, if you allow it to.
Right. So he can actually come into somebody's body.
Yeah. But he don't have a physical body himself.
He does not have a physical body.
Yeah.
So that's why he cannot create something.
Yeah.
Because you got to have a physical body on this earth to create.
Okay. Understood.
All right? Yeah. And everything has to be in alignment for actually the creation process to work. Because if you think about it, if your mind and your will wants to do something, but your spirit says, "Oh, that's not a good idea."
Right.
Even when they made the atomic bomb, the guy's spirit was just like, "Man, I think we just opened Pandora's box. You know, we could actually blow up the whole world
because he feel like he got the power." Yeah.
Yeah. So, what I want to talk a little bit about today is something called spiritual intelligence. Now, there's like 4 different intelligences, but spiritual intelligence is really where it's at as far as trying to do stuff. So, our level of faith is in proportion to our level of understanding. So, you remember where you get your faith from?
My faith.
How do you get faith?
Faith from belief, right?
Well, faith and belief
is similar.
Yeah, sort of similar, yeah. You get belief by hearing the word of God, you know, but your faith actually comes from your source still.
Okay.
But your level of faith is in proportion to your level of understanding. So the more you understand where it's coming from and how you receive it, that's the more you're going to get.
Understood.
So we actually need to wake up the sleeping giant. Every now and then we tap into a part of us that's fearless, courageous, bold, knows how to do everything, has the courage and character to do it. So we need to really find the divinity in our humanity. And it's already in there.
Right.
Okay, but there's a process and there's an idea once you start understanding it, how to get there. Some people in sports call it flow, where they get to the point where they're not even thinking about anything. The time kind of slows down and you're in a sports, you know,
your own
game
zone.
or whatever. You're in your own zone, yeah, and it's just like you do this thing you've never done before, you know.
Right.
Okay, so really inside of you, there's a brilliant, boundless, creative genius within you.
Right.
Okay, you already possess everything you're going to need in order to manifest anything you've ever dreamed. Okay, that's a tough one to wrap your mind around.
You already
have everything you need
for
to
sure.
get to your destiny.
I mean, same thing.
God put it all in there.
Yeah.
In your spiritual intelligence, or, you know.
Yeah,
so.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I mean,
you must get rid of the other parts that overshadow your superconscious, like worry, anxious, feeling insecure, having an identity crisis. All those things actually slow you down because it takes your mind off what you really want to focus on, and where
Right.
your focus is what's going to actually kind of come alive.
Understand.
Yeah. And there's actually a thing in the Bible that says, before I formed thee in your belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I adorned thee a prophet among the nations. He's talking about Jeremiah. The idea is, before you even became born here on this earth, you were part of God before that. You're a spirit.
Right.
And that's a superconscious actually is like knowledge put inside of that human spirit that's inside your body right now that knows everything, has the answers to a lot of things. That's why, like, when we're talking every now and then, you're like, oh yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's already in there.
Right.
What's in your spiritual consciousness or your spiritual intelligence, it actually gets revealed. It's not really something you learn.
Understood.
Okay. So God actually speaks to a part of us that pre-exists our birth. Okay, so the Spirit is actually what connects you to God, and He actually speaks through His Spirit to you and basically is reminds you who you are. So God says we're not supposed to identify with where we are, your circumstances, but with who we are, which is your identity.
I understand.
Okay, you remember about circumstances last time we talked a little bit, where I told you there was a circle and you're standing, inside that circle. How do you get out of a circumstance?
Remove yourself.
Yeah, just move. That's the idea. So the biggest thing you got to understand is your identity is a truth. It does not change. It's spiritual. Whereas your circumstance is physical, where you're standing or, say you feel like you're broke or you feel like you're, not real smart or whatever. That type of thing actually will change because that's physical. The biggest thing we're not supposed to do is we're not supposed to embrace language with self-limiting beliefs like, I can't, I'm sick, I'm tired. Whenever you use the word I am, that's actually spiritual. And whenever you connect something to it, that's actually going to be how your mind thinks or how everything is going to produce through that.
Right.
So you need to identify with God, who God says you are, even in the face of facts or circumstances, because facts change, but the truth doesn't. I'll give you an example here. Well, first of all, truth is spiritual and facts are physical. All physical things change. Physical things come out of a spiritual place. Spiritual things come out of a higher court of God. So the truth actually overrides the facts. Even if you have to change the facts, that we're called to speak the truth in the face of facts. Let the weak say that I am strong. So why would some weak dudes say they are strong?
Saying it comes to believing in a certain point of view.
I am. When it comes out of your mouth, you're actually built here to be a creator. Mm-hmm. So what you say, that's how God created everything around here, by His words. So when you say I am strong, even if you're not, eventually you're going to believe it and you're going to actually, you'll be it first, then you'll do it, then you'll have it. That's how it works, be, do, have.
Right.
So, okay, the fact of your weakness doesn't change the truth of your strength. And the fact of your poverty doesn't change the truth of your wealth. Okay, so if you really know what God says about you as far as being strong, being wealthy, being, the head, not the tail, being the lender, not the borrower, if you understand the truth, then the facts, like I said, have to kind of go against that truth and they can't win. So, okay, so I'm going to move into 4 forms of intelligences, and you probably already know at least one or two of them. Number one is academic intelligence. So it's understanding how and why things work, like language, math, understanding patterns, all that kind of stuff. Your emotional intelligence is something that I'm trying to teach kids at the school a little bit because your relational intelligence, which is RA, equals your emotional intelligence plus your IQ, which is your intelligence quotient. Basically meaning like how you relate to everybody is going to be determined how you understand your emotions and, what your general IQ is.
Right.
So skillful management of your own state, moods, or responses to outer stimuli. That's your emotional intelligence. So can you control your state when everything's going crazy? That's called
most
responding.
likely you'll be distracted. Yeah.
What I'm saying is called responding instead of reacting. Like a fight breaks out in school and I'm just sitting there watching. So I can control myself. I used to get up, start running towards it, and try to stop it within 2 seconds. It's like I'm starting to understand though that that's not my job. My job is not to stop everything.
That's why they pay the security guards.
Yeah, well they don't do it either. So it's like, the idea is though, like I said, when you start doing that, then the kids start fighting in front of you because they know you're going to break it up.
Yeah.
It becomes like a fair, like an easy
quick punch.
Yeah. No. So anyways, as far as emotional intelligence, also, it's a skillful management of your own state or moods or responses. When other people's behaviors disappoint you and you have setbacks or you have tests or you have difficult people, does your attitude change? Because if it changes, then that person is controlling you.
Right.
So the more emotionally intelligent you are, the more you understand that person's having a hard time, but it doesn't have to change how you are in that situation. So that's the idea, to try and get to that point. So that's emotional intelligence. Social intelligence is the art of winning friends and influencing people. So it's like your relational currency.
Oh, like that's hard.
Yeah, if you do something for somebody, it's not really exchanging money, but that relationship is building, and you can actually call on that, call back,
right.
that relation. All right, so no one will go along with you if they don't get along with you. So you can't expect someone to come along with you if you're not, kind of providing, extra helping and doing whatever you can. So now these three intelligences can be developed. Okay, so we need to be intentional about developing skills to build those three intelligences. Okay, but the intelligence I want to talk about today more is something called spiritual intelligence. It's not developed. It's actually
learned,
discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really learned, but it's really like it's already there. It's already strong as heck. But if you don't know it's there, then it's not there for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's really foundational. It's instinctive. It's intuitive knowledge pre-installed in your spiritual essence. You came into this world with knowledge. It's not developed, but it's discovered. It's your appetite to survive, to win, succeed, thrive. That's all kind of your instinctive stuff. Here's it, going right back to the beginning. The Lord formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living soul. So your body is formed how? Do you remember? Out of the dust.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say. Because where does your body go when you die?
Underground.
Back in the ground. So anything that comes out of something will return to that thing, and it must stay connected to that thing to survive, to thrive, okay? Your spirit of life is God breathed. So, when he made Adam, he breathed into the nostrils of Adam and made him a human being. But man became a living mind after the spirit was put into the body. Okay, so he became a living mind or a soul when the spirit or the contents enter into the container, which is the body. Okay, I'm just trying to get you to understand the three parts of an actual human being.
Right.
And those three parts, for you to actually reach this spiritual intelligence thing, have to be kind of in alignment,
attached,
to actually create something. Okay? So your value is in your content, not in your container.
Oh.
So what's inside you, what he put inside you, is what's valuable.
For sure.
Most people stop at that first level, that body level, where they try and make up their face, they try and, be skinny, try and be
physical.
Athletic. It's all physical. So if your mind is based in the physical, that's going to change. So you're always going to be frustrated.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because I used to be, I was never fast, but I was real athletic. But I'm saying I understand that that's not why I'm here. You know what I mean? Because your body will, just like your soul, that they actually will get older, you'll age.
For sure.
Whereas your spirit, I'm just telling you right now, I'm 54. I still think I can do what I could do when I was 20. But that's my spirit talking.
It's possible.
Yeah. Very, very unlikely, believe me, because your knees are old. And
I mean, if you're talking about physically.
Yeah. Physically, it's possible if you keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so another example is like a water in a bottle. Okay, the water is valuable, not the bottle that houses it. Okay,
I believe they both valuable.
Well, I'm saying you could take that bottle and put something else in it and walk around. Like I said, the container is important, but that water is life.
For sure. I can agree with it.
Life. Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely agree with it. I mean, from a point of view, like, say if you wanted to walk around with that bottle, you really can't walk around with it without it.
Right, yeah, you definitely need a
that's
bottle
why I'm saying it's important.
So there's a reason why you have a body. Because the contents that are in your body, which is your spirit, needs something to be in your soul.
Okay, I get your point. Okay, you mixing it around with the body. I see your point.
Yeah. But if there's, obviously we're in a little different situation. It's almost like if you lose your body, you're in trouble.
you
can get another bottle. I mean, but it can't get out of the body.
Yeah, that's guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't want to identify with where you are, but with who you are. So what's the difference between where you are and who you are?
I mean, where you are, I mean, that can change.
Absolutely
who you are,
will change.
you got to, most likely mold that to be what it is.
So who you are, I'm going to hit you with it. Who are you?
Huh?
Who are you?
Who am I? I mean, that's a good question.
It's a tough question because if you explain it physically, it's going to change. If you explain it spiritually, it will not
for
change.
me, I look at myself like I'm a guy that's open to things because I haven't figured out what my passion is. So
right.
So I have to be open to things to understand my passion eventually.
Okay, so you're saying you're an open person.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, say if I did something to you and shot your leg and now you're in a wheelchair, are you still an open person?
I mean, not because I seen something like that. Well, it was I think a movie. Somebody got injured. He was handicapped, and now he was thinking about the wheelchair games and stuff like that.
Okay, so he changed who he was.
Yeah, he changed. Yeah. But the thing about it is he didn't think about it negative. Right. I mean, for me, I'm a type of person that I ain't gonna let that slide.
Okay,
but that just
my biggest thing is though who you are physically is absolutely going to change. So you can't control that.
Yeah, definitely.
But who you are spiritually is never going to change.
Definitely.
So if you have the answer to who you are spiritually, then you could just say it, and that's who you can identify with.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like. So
I think who I am.
Hopefully, I get there.
Who I am is a child of God. That's
what I'm saying. That's a good point.
Yeah, when I don't, when I don't remember that, and I start thinking, well, maybe I'm a school teacher, maybe I'm a.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's definitely not good to entitle yourself as your job title,
right?
Because that's not who you are. That's just what you do for money.
Right.
So other than that, you're who you really are.
Okay, so we need to realize what man God created in the beginning. He created in Himself. The Spirit that is in us was in God at one time.
Right.
So that's where you get that connection, and you get that aha moments, the eureka moment. Like he's going to send some stuff down that line every now and then to tell you. All right, so there was a part of you that was made by God, for God, and from God. That's your spirit. That's your divine DNA, your image and likeness of God, or your spiritual essence. Okay, that part of you is what we're talking about. The super creative, energetic, confident, looks, sounds like God, doesn't know limits. If you think about it, when you're younger, it seems like you think you can do anything.
Oh, for sure.
As life hits you in the face, you start running into different situations. Reality kicks in, and all of a sudden, now I can't do that. But like I said, that's not what we're really supposed to be doing. So when you speak limits, that actually comes from a part that is formed, which is your ego. Okay, so you don't want to speak limits on you. What you want to do is basically speak opportunity, as opposed to limit.
Yeah.
So we do exist in parts. Your spirit, we talked about this a little bit, is actually being discovered right now. Some people never know that they are a spirit here in the physical world living with the soul. They think they're a body, and they think everything works physically, and they never really understand that everything starts from the spiritual world.
Oh, for sure.
Everything starts as a thought. Okay, so your spiritual essence was created by God, learns nothing from the physical world. Okay, so this spiritual intelligence that's inside you, you're not really developing it. You're not discovering anything new.
Because it's already there.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's created with pre-installed knowledge of everything you ever need to know about anything pertaining to your destiny and purpose. Okay, that doesn't mean, like, in my spirit, I'm not going to know how to build an atomic bomb. Because that's not why I was here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the dude's name. Okay, your spirit actually is ageless and timeless, where your body and soul will age, but your spirit will not. I told you about that already. Now your soul actually is being developed. Any idea there's 3 things to your soul?
I wouldn't know it.
Yeah, okay. So it's your mind, your will, and your emotions.
Okay.
It could be your imaginations, all that stuff that's in your mind. Okay, so that's actually developed. When you come here, your spirit's already done. Your body actually has a process going through that is going to get older, get, hair on your body, and, eventually you go backwards in the process and, start to get weak, lose your teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Lose your hair, So like I said, it's a whole process. Your soul is actually formed by a sociological process, including your education, your experience, and your environment. Okay, that's how your soul was actually created, through your education, through your experience, and your environment. Now, the problem with this is when your soul is being created in your education, you could be being educated wrong.
Right.
Okay, which honestly, I believe the education nowadays is more just to kind of create workers as opposed to you know, actually people that are imagining and
That's
creating.
disappointing.
Yeah. And your experiences can be bad and your environment can be toxic. So those three things on the negative side could create a soul that you're like, man, you don't want to write home about. You know,
Yeah.
like your
In the
soul's
hood,
kinda,
we experienced all that at
that's
once.
what I'm saying. It's everywhere, believe me. So you actually have a conscious, subconscious, and a superconscious mind. In your soul, the demonic strongholds are in your mind. Basically meaning like, say if you think you're not, you don't add up. You're worthless. Okay, that's actually the devil trying to tell you something opposite of what God would tell you. If you read his words, all he does is corrupt what God actually wants, to be, where it's supposed to be. So that's all the devil can do. He can just corrupt. He doesn't create. So he just tries to switch. And that actually holds you back.
Switch the narrative.
He makes you worry about stuff. He makes you, and like I said, if you read God's word enough, it's like you shouldn't be worried about anything because it's already written. So devil wants you to doubt the goodness of God, which is in thought. So once you know that you have salvation, your mind still needs to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Remember what I told you last week? To renew your mind is to understand what God wants or what God actually has already put in you, just to basically discover what's already in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah. So man can't live on bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God.
Man can't just live out of bread alone. And
this is actually something coming right out the Bible. Man can't live by bread alone, but he lives by every word that comes out of the mouth of God.
Because it means something.
Absolutely. Because he's basically telling you what you truly are.
Yeah.
And you don't really know it. Okay, so your body is the third point. So you have your spirit, your soul, and your body. Your body is actually developed. The body is formed by a biological process, and it's really only therefore to be the container for the spirit and the soul. Okay, now I'm not saying that the body is any less important than the soul or the spirit, because if you let your body go to crap, then you're not going to get any experiences. You're going to feel like, and you're going to have an early death, So
right.
You have to take care of your body. They say the body's like the temple, for the spirit. But it does go through a biological process. You're going to get old. You're going to die. Your body's going to die.
Right.
Your soul does not get old, though. Okay, so if you understand those three things, body, soul, spirit, there's three centers of consciousness. Now, anytime I use the word conscious, I actually want to use the word awareness. So you have to be aware of something to be conscious of it.
For sure, that's common sense.
Just like if you didn't know you were three parts, so you weren't aware that you were three parts, how would you, understand or work towards something spiritual if you didn't even think there was such thing? There's people walk around that have no idea about where they're from or, what they're supposed to do or, 'cause spiritually they're kind of dead.
For sure.
Okay, so each part of you is a center of consciousness by which we perceive and navigate a unique world. Okay, your body actually has the ability to perceive the physical world. Okay, through the body, we are world conscious. Okay, that's where you have your five senses and everything that goes on around you. You're actually conscious of the world. Understand, though, that the world is nothing more than a manifestation of what's in your spirit. So how you look at things and how you react to things and stuff, that's how your spirit is actually reacting. So the actual spiritual world is actually more real than the physical world.
Right.
So it's kind of wild. Okay, now your soul. So through the soul, we're actually self-conscious. So if we did not have a soul, we wouldn't be able to think about why do we do things. It's like...
Now, that would be a problem.
Yeah, that would be a problem because you couldn't fix anything that was going wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, we're able to question ourselves, talk to ourselves out of something, understand what's going on inside of you at any time. So you're actually aware of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your spirit, through the spirit, we're actually God conscious. Like I said, if you don't understand anything about the spirit and you don't believe in any religions or anything like that, there's a whole part of you that wants to come alive, and you're gonna, like I said, your body and your soul is going to be battling,
right?
Because your spirit wants to come through, but your spirit actually makes you God conscious. So you perceive God, you navigate spiritual realms, your hopes and your beliefs. That's why a lot of people that don't really understand anything spiritually, they're just like, why are we doing this? There's no reason to, wake up in the morning. There's no reason, that's where that real heavy depression comes in. But spiritually conscious, some of the things to remember: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. you're starting to, once you become more spiritually conscious, you understand that God put these ideas in somebody's head that wrote stuff down 2,000 years ago, and nothing's changed ever since. You know what I mean? So that doesn't change. We haven't had, any kind of new revelation or new ideas, since we've been here. So all things work together for my good. That's one I'm going to hit actually next week a little bit. But okay, so we're talking about those are 3 centers of your consciousness or your awareness. So your body, your soul, and your spirit they're your centers. There's actually 3 levels of consciousness. So you have a conscious mind, you have a subconscious mind, and you have the superconscious. So now we're going to get into kind of the meat where I want you to try and understand how to get to your superconscious.
All right.
Okay, so the conscious mind is like conscious thoughts. It's limited in its capacity, and it gets overwhelmed if you're thinking too much at one time. That happens a lot in like education.
Right.
You're worried about if you start to take on people's other problems, and start thinking about, how can I fix it? It's not even your job to fix that person. They need to fix themselves. But you start thinking, oh, now I got this due. I got to do my grades. I got to do this. I got to do it.
Yeah.
That's somebody that is in their conscious mind, and they're kind of bogging themselves down. And that conscious mind can only take so much.
Yeah, that's crazy. Sometimes I take work home to do it.
Oh, yeah, they do it at home. Like I said,
terrible.
it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, one time I'm home.
Yeah.
Ain't no more work.
Absolutely. So that's somebody that can understand, though, that you have to be able to, not overwhelm that. Because when you overwhelm it, it's done.
I see, yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Like, where you focus is going to determine, what you are aware of. So if you think about right now, if you shift your focus to your left foot, what does it feel like?
If I shift it to my left foot.
Think about your left foot. What does it feel
right
like?
here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not feeling that. I just understand it's there.
Okay. So before I even said that, did you even think about your left foot?
No, I didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you gave me awareness of thinking about my left
foot. Wherever your focus goes, your attention goes and your awareness goes.
Yeah.
And that's why people get in trouble. Like, say you have an issue that you cannot, say there's no answer to this problem. It's not even a problem. It's just the truth you're trying to accept. And all you do is focus on that.
Yeah.
Now you're climbing up a mountain. It ain't got no top.
Yeah, that ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere. So the idea is, like I said, your focus is real strong, and you got to understand that conscious mind is kind of limited. Now your subconscious mind is something called your heart or your warehouse. And your subconscious mind, it stores all your experiences. And what it does is it tries to make meaning through connections and relationships between experiences. Patterns, relationships. When we go to sleep, it's our subconscious mind trying to connect our experiences. That's why we start dreaming about stuff.
Yeah.
The idea of your subconscious mind is trying to kind of make sense of why, you're going through things. And, like I said, if you don't sleep hardly at all, then that's why, in the regular
problem.
Yeah, it's a problem, because in a regular day, then all of a sudden you're thinking
sleeping
about all this stuff. Yeah, you're actually, you're actually walking.
Yeah, sleepwalking.
Yeah, so your subconscious mind actually tries to connect those experiences that way, because you only have so much, bandwidth or so much memory, that you can remember stuff, and it tries to show it back to you in a movie, because we actually see things in pictures and stuff. We just understand things better.
Yeah, from memories.
Yeah, so things are stored at a subconscious level. That's why when you run into some people that have not really had a chance to, I guess, get their subconscious mind straight, that they get triggered by things. Like if someone starts yelling, all of a sudden that experience comes popping back up, and now I got to be defensive.
Right.
Yeah, so that's when you see like PTSD, like in different, people that are in the army and stuff. It's when they hear a loud noise in their subconscious, there's an experience in there. When you hear a loud noise, somebody's getting blown up.
Yeah.
They actually believe that they're in a war.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, yeah. So, all right, moving on to the last one, the superconscious mind is actually the created mind. It has intelligence pre-installed. Okay, we experience it as intuition, our will, our reasoning, our perception, imagination, memory, big ideas, solutions to big ideas, aha moments, and eureka. So all answers are in there. We just need to ask the right questions. This is what people don't really understand. If you're always asking, why me? Why did this happen to me? Why can't I do this? Why am I so slow? Why am I? Whatever questions you ask, you're going to get the answers for.
For sure.
So your mind is going to try and make up stuff, because a lot of times you're basically fooling yourself, because you're not really thinking about what God thinks about. You're thinking about, physically what your limitations are. So you want to ask how questions, not why questions. So when you say like, how can I don't know, move this mountain from here to there? Okay, you're already thinking that it's possible because I'm saying it's how.
for sure, it's possible.
And it is possible. You get a couple of those big, earth movers and dig, you can move a mountain,
Yeah.
But, why do I have to do something? It's like you're going to get an answer to a question that you don't even want to know the answer.
It's worthless.
So, yeah. You need to dig deep beyond your conscious mind around your deadlines, your bills, your issues. Dig deep beyond your subconscious mind, which is your memories, your beliefs, to your superconscious where the divine genius sleeps. So all answers to your destiny are pre-installed in that superconscious mind. Like I said, most of us live in our conscious mind where everything, if we're reacting to our situation, that's all we know.
Yeah.
Whereas our
It's
subconscious
physically
mind, if we
happening to
know
us.
that there is a subconscious mind, we can actually try to get that organized and figure out, that's where we're talking about the different relational intelligence and emotional intelligence, why is somebody acting the way they are? If you understand that's because that's how they are.
Right.
You can't change that. Then you can actually move into what's called the superconscious.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you a quick question. How do you think you can unleash your superconscious mind? Stir up, activate your superconscious mind. Do you have any idea how you could do that? So you have to get beyond that conscious mind. So you have to get beyond the physical reality. You have to get beyond your memories and everything. How would you get to your superconscious mind?
I mean,
That's
I look
a tough
at
question.
it. I mean, I look at
Yeah.
it as forgetting what you know now and just learning new things.
Okay.
That's where I look
So
at it.
that will get you beyond the conscious mind
Yeah.
for sure. If you're not worried about what's going on in your environment, then that's not going to bog you down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How would you get, I guess that forgetting about your memories and stuff like that, I mean, that's another way to get beyond that level. What about your beliefs?
I mean, you gotta. But I mean, like there was somebody that one time that was trying to teach me something.
Mm-hmm.
He was just saying something like, forget, at this point, forget everything that you know, and I'll teach you something that you need to know. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. I mean, for me, it's hard to like say, forget everything I know. I'm saying, who are you? What are you talking about? So, I mean, I see if a person is making sense, and they ain't making no sense to me, if they got to go.
Okay.
So, but it's a good point as I look at it. That is a good point of doing, but you got to talk some sense.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is, like I said, he may understand that when you start judging or you start trying to, just evaluate what that person is saying without even giving them a chance to say it, then it's like, there's no way I can help you unless you want help.
Right.
And if you want help, then what that means, you're going to have to try and forget about everything and just listen. And then, like I said, it'll mix with your superconscious.
Right.
The biggest one is an identity shift. Okay, not a mind shift, because a mind shift's kind of temporary. I could say, well, I used to be this, but now I'm going to be this.
Yeah.
But if you're not being something, it's not going to work, because eventually you're going to, run into different problems and you're going to go back to the way your old self was. Whereas identity shifts are actually permanent. So an identity shift with the part of you that God made is I am that I am. If you start thinking, what God says about you, I am blessed, I am favored, and you say it in the face of all the circumstances you're running into, you start believing you actually are.
Right.
And if you're that type of person that believes you actually are, then there's nothing you cannot do.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it might take a little bit longer. It might, but with those how questions, then God can actually come through your spirit and tell you how to do things.
For sure. Everything that we got, came from belief. It can be anything.
So draw God's power to solidify your identity. So the idea is, like I said, if you don't believe that you are a God's child, then, I mean, you're already stuck.
I mean, I look at it as common sense.
Yeah, because you got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and see if you can believe this one. I create my own world or my perception with my words. That's one. How'd you get stuck up on all
No, I
the
mean,
time?
I create my own perception for sure. I mean, because I look at it as like, if I put myself in a crowd that's doing, just no good, I'll be that'll be the next person doing no good.
Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in a scenario that you're going to grow. Then what was your other question that you had?
I create my own world.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Perception with my words.
Perception
so what words
with your
come out of
words.
your mouth.
Yeah, the words that comes out your mouth. That's we worked on that before.
You got to think, out of the overflow of your heart, your mouth speaks. So what's inside, what's your belief, that's what's in your heart is. It's your beliefs and your
Okay.
convictions and all that stuff and your morality. When the words come out, basically that's just it's an identification saying that something's being watered down there, that thought is taking that next step, becoming a word, and then the word becomes a behavior, and the behavior becomes a habit. But I'm saying once it hits the word stage, then you actually believe what you're saying.
For sure.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Okay.
You have to,
so you have to watch because you make your perception with your words. Okay, so the number one way to kind of get your superconscious going is an identity shift.
Okay.
Number two is set big goals.
For sure.
Okay, now if there's a goal that you set and you can afford it with your own pockets,
that's not
a
goal.
That's not a big goal.
That's too small.
That's just something little. Okay, so if you can fund the project, you don't need God's intervention. So if you need God's intervention, that's when your superconscious is going to come alive. Goal. Okay, so small goals don't require superconscious ideas or energy.
Yeah, because you can do it.
Right. So we're looking for the image and likeness of God. So here's an example. If I have a small goal, say I want to turn on a hand torch, I need 2 AA batteries and that hand torch starts.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if my goal is bigger, if I want to light up a city, those 2 AA batteries ain't going to help me.
No.
Okay, so to light up a city is like a power plant.
Yeah.
It's an energy source. Your superconscious is like a power plant. You got to think about it like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So when you build something bigger than you require the part that's bigger than you. So that's your superconscious. Okay. If your vision or dream is too small, then God there's no reason for him to actually tell you anything about what you're trying to do. Here's an example in the Bible, and I'm sure it's in the Quran because it's in the Old Testament. God broke into Abraham's mind and told him to count the stars. He's like, why am I going to count the stars? It just sounds like something. Yeah. But he said that I'm going to make your descendants as many as the stars in the sky.
Oh, okay.
Now, this dude's 75 years old. He don't have any kids. So God is putting in his mind a goal that there's no way Abraham could do that by himself. God's going to have to intervene. So the old man didn't have any children. He was speaking to Abraham's spiritual consciousness. Because when God actually speaks to you, like I said, a lot of people walk around never have God speak to them, never have any ideas come into their mind that could be godlike because they don't set big enough goals.
Right.
They're not really trying to draw from the information that they need. So anyways, Abraham was actually the father of both nations because he had Ishmael, which was all like the Muslim side, and he had Isaac, which was all like the Christian side. So if you're Muslim or Christian, you come out of Abraham. He was the father of both. And like I said, he had the reason why, I'll just tell you the story real quick. The reason why coming out of the Muslim side, Abraham was trying to have a baby with Sarah and couldn't. Sarah was like, he was 75, she was like 85 or something, So
that's
her eggs
not
was
gonna
gone.
happen.
Yeah. But God, the angel came down and told him that he was going to have that. But instead of allowing the time and God's timing to have the baby with Sarah, Sarah's like, well, since I can't have it, I'm going to let you. Hagar, was their, like the handmaid or whatever. He said, why don't you have sex with Hagar and create a child? And, then we can go from there. So basically it was man trying to do what God wanted to do.
Right.
So that's why God made the promise to Abraham, though he's going to make a nation of a bunch of people. So he held up his promise, with that. But one nation went towards Muslim and one nation went towards Christianity. So that was where that came from, actually. All right, so the idea there, like I said, he's 75 years old. He's way past time to have children. His wife was even older, and like I said, but when God speaks to you, then it's going to get done.
Yeah, he can make miracles.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he definitely. Yeah. Okay, so that's number 2. Set big goals. First one's identity shift. The second one is big goals. Third one is creative questions. So the wrong questions are the why questions.
Yeah.
That's limiting, assuming it cannot be done. The right questions are the how questions. These are creative questions that assume possibility. Why goes down the wrong path. How is a spiritual question. All things are possible through Christ that strengthens me. That's just something that's in the Bible. Okay, when you enter the realm of possibility, which is a manifestation of divinity, you enter with the question of how. You get good answers. It says in there, if you seek, you knock, and he's going to answer. Like I said, the whole idea is to stir up your superconscious by asking the how questions. So try and give me an example of something big you've been thinking about. You have anything big goal-wise? as opposed to probably not, and I probably don't either. So
I mean, I have big goals. I mean,
it's a shame. But what's like one big goal you can think of?
what's one big goal to think of?
Remember what I said last week? I tried, or 2 weeks ago. I want to be the tide that lifts all boats.
Okay.
How can I do that by myself? I can't.
No.
So there has to be some God's would have to ordain. Yeah. So when I'm doing what I'm doing, I want to try and make sure everyone around me rises up with me. That way, the whole place is getting better.
Right.
So that's a big goal that I can't do by myself. But if you don't have any, then
I mean,
like
one of my goals. I mean, creating a team. That's one. Yeah, that's one. Like,
and it doesn't matter what that team.
I mean,
does.
team like. I mean, because I can create a team. That is not a big problem. But a team that, realistically, that can, be available and have time to themselves. I don't need somebody from a point of view of every time, we need them, or anytime, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that.
Right.
I don't got time for that.
Yeah.
Because from my point of view, even if I was busy and you was a part of my team, I'll take my time to come talk to you and do all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's actually a big goal. I mean, like I said, that's actually part of creating any kind of empire.
Yeah.
Finding somebody that's on that same level.
Yeah.
That's the problem, though, with including people that are all on the how questions. How can I do this? How can I get around doing it? I'm saying if you're always asking how or why, my fault.
Yeah.
Why? Why would I do that for you? Why would I do? It's like that shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So example is like, what if it doesn't work? As opposed to how awesome is it going to be when it works. It's just on how you speak to yourself.
Yeah, ask questions.
Yeah, it's good questions. You're going to get good answers. So that's the third step. So the first one is identity shift. Second one, set big goals. Third one is creative questions. And the fourth one is slow down. Creation happens at night. Manifestation happens in the light. So creation happens at night. Manifestation happens in the light. So creation happens at night, basically meaning when you go to sleep, that's when God can kind of download things and give you good ideas. And, as long as you slow down. There's people that go to sleep that don't even hardly sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all worried about their phone. They're worried about this, worried about, like I said, you have to try and disconnect yourself. That way, your subconscious mind can actually get everything organized. And, like I said, just the whole idea, though, is manifestation happens in the light. Means when you're awake, that's when you actually will put forth the effort or the work to get stuff done.
Right.
But at nighttime, that's when creation actually happens. That's when your thoughts, that's the first step in creating something is your thoughts. So everything is created twice, once in your mind, then in the physical world. Everything starts in the spiritual world. So that's why there's some people on this earth that really never amount to much because they never really connect to who they actually are.
Right.
They think they're a body. They think, they're a basketball player and that's all they can do. They think, it's like I said, they're kind of limiting themselves.
Yes.
Okay, nighttime. When nighttime comes, energy slows down. You don't have to focus on what's around you. Think about it. When you go to sleep, I'm not worried about, where this couch is. I'm not worried about, do I take this TV and put it somewhere? You just shut everything down. That way, like I said, you should be able to do that during the daytime even. That's why some people are so creative. They have to be by themselves half the time.
Right.
When you're with people, it's hard. But they're so creative because they can actually disconnect all the stuff that's physical and actually start thinking spiritual. So when you're not focusing on what's around you, then you can actually focus on what's inside of you. That's how you hook into that spiritual consciousness. So your mind becomes very creative. Ideas start sparking off. That's basically how, like I said, the 4 ways to try to get to that super conscious.
I love it. That's a great point.
Yeah. So, trying to think. As far as a wrap up for this, it's hard to get to that point where your super conscious is going to work unless you're in control of those other parts of your mind, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. And the way you get that is, like I said, with emotional intelligence, with IQ, understanding things, your relational intelligence. If you understand all those things, then, like I said, then you can actually jump through those hoops and get down to that super conscious mind to be able to, but those 4 things, as far as identity shift, I think I'm there. As far as, how I identify with setting big goals is my next step, then the creative questions. I just learned that last week, so now I can start thinking more of how you can do something as opposed to why.
Definitely. Yeah, why? As I look at it, when you say why, you already shut down your question.
Yeah.
So you don't go farther than that.
Yeah.
So how then you think about it?
How puts you in that, basically frame of mind spiritually that, I don't care what it is, I can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Figuring out certain things.
Yeah. So, and then the last part is just slow down.
Yeah.
And you have that one down.
Yeah.
I'm saying, because you've built your life a little bit where it's like, I was just listening to a Dave Goggins or whatever podcast, and he was talking about he has to put a cap on his success.
Ooh,
The reason why he has to do that is because that success eventually will eat you.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if all you're doing is looking for success all the time, then you would never really do you.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
a good point.
And really, it's not about working harder; it's about working smarter. You
have
can't
to.
work smarter if you're working hard.
Simple.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's a good one. Slow down.
slow down.
That's when you said that. I mean, I didn't know you was gonna say nothing like that, but
Yeah.
it's so easy and simple. Slow down. And you said that, I'm like, oh, that's a good point.
So, what's the difference between slowing down and speeding up? One is driven by your ego,
Yeah,
and one is driven by the actual,
sure. I mean-
your source.